Okay, good morning. Um, so I'm speaking about my work with the Geodes team. So I'm presenting on behalf of Geodes. In addition to our musician, Ben Cosgrove, and our PI, Nick Schmer, and our deputy PI, Jacob Richardson, who have been incredibly supportive of all the strange things that I have asked them to fund, including this. So what is geodes? Geodes, essentially we use geophysics tools and techniques to study the subsurface of other worlds. This example shows you there's a lava tube, which is a void space. So geophysics tools allow you to find and characterize the resources and types of environments below the surface. So geophysics tools use waves, a lot of them. So on the left, you see a ground penetrating radar, and which uses radio waves. And on the right, Jacob Giles, who's a graduate student at the University of Maryland, is using a seismometer. This is a video. I don't know. Do you know how to play it?
Trigger down, I guess.
So he's creating a sound wave, which then perpetuates through the ground, and the speed with which it travels helps us figure out what's below the surface. So thinking about waves, the deputy PI, Jacob Richardson, and I started thinking about what would it be like if we had a musician interpret some of our data. So this was during COVID, so we had to wait a little bit to go on an expedition. So finally, last summer, we went to Lava Beds National Monument, which is right on the border of California and Oregon, and it's full of these lava tubes. So we think that there are lava tubes on the moon and Mars, and lava tubes are interesting for exploration because they could be habitats for astronauts. They could shelter equipment. So everyone on the team was looking at these lava tubes to learn more about them. Unfortunately, their parallel session about the science and geology of these lava tubes is right now. So if you're interested in that, I can direct you to some of the scientists later. So in thinking about the type of person we wanted to bring out, we were thinking, so we wanted to bring someone who would allow us to reach new audiences. So growing up, I was not interested in science. I was really interested in art. So thinking about people who may not, typically follow NASA science, but are attending concerts. So this opportunity allows us to reach new audiences, promote Geode's mission, and then also having someone with such a different background from the team come with us, we're hoping would maybe facilitate new ways of thinking among the team. Maybe hearing data sonified would help them think differently. And then, of course, the experience would provide enrichment for the artists that we selected. So we brought out musician, composer Ben Cosgrove. If you were at the Monday reception, he actually came and performed. But he composes music based on landscape and topography. He's done a bunch of residencies in national parks. So it was a really nice fit to have him come out. And as you can see, he became an active participant in our field research. We had him hauling equipment. We had him in the lava tubes, measuring tape. And there he is making his own sound waves with the seismometer. The team really appreciated having him there. He was very enthusiastic, very interested in their work, an extra set of hands, of course, but I think they really enjoyed conversing with him at the end of the week. One of our graduate students said their very favorite part of the whole trip was Ben's participation. So that was great to hear. And then we were guests of the National Park Service there. So as a thanks to them, and we had Ben perform at the campground at Lava Beds National Monument. And that was a really special place to hear some music. Ben said of the experience that he's used to subjectively interpreting landscape, and it was incredibly gratifying to be at Lava Beds with a group of people who are highly trained to study and understand landscape as a document of time and events. People who could look at a rock or the sweep of a landscape and see motion and time written in it. A lava tube begins as a broad, chaotic flood of lava, but as it flows with gravity, it settles into channels that reinforce themselves as hotter, faster-moving lava streams between less active lava that cools and hardens over and around it. I liked the idea of a piece of music that would move similarly. Big dramatic washes of arpeggios that grow in intensity before gradually settling into discrete flowing bands of notes smearing together. Can you tell he's an artist? So Ben recently released last week the song that he composed based on the experience. It's called Volcano, and it's on his upcoming album called Bearings. And I'd love to play just a snippet for you. It's a 4-minute song, but we can listen to how much time do I have? We can, yeah, you want to play? I hate to cut it off because it's such a beautiful piece of music, but I encourage you to listen later. So one more note about Ben. So Ben will now be performing this piece of music. He travels around the country touring. So and he tells stories of each song before he performs. So now we get to share his experience learning from geodes, learning with NASA to audiences around the country. So this was such a success. The team enjoyed it so much that we decided to continue and expand the program this year. So we worked with the College of Arts and Humanities here at the University of Maryland to more formalize the program and promote it. And so we had many amazing applications, but we selected Sarah Nance, whose research interests are oddly tied to geophysics. She's interested in archived landscapes and using data from those to create artwork. So this is a sculpture that she did, and she's a multimedia artist. And this is actually an example of her using lunar data to code a knitting pattern, which she then designed into this print. So we are really eager and excited to see what she creates from this experience. We're heading to the San Francisco volcanic field outside of Flagstaff next week. So that will be an amazing opportunity. So thank you so much.
We have time for one question.
Hey, that's incredible. So I have a question for you about how you might use the musical interpretation in the future. So Ben Crosgrove's work is amazing, but I'm curious if you have considered other genres of music or other artists that might help you interpret this in the future. And particularly, I'm curious if you had considered any electronic artists that might be able to support this, because they look at both producing and performing very analytically. And I'm just curious how that might reflect with these studies.
That would be fascinating. This is just kind of in its infancy, so I would love to learn more about some electronic artists encouraging their participation. Something that we did try to do for our second year was we made the call really open because one of the goals of this program is to bring in people who think differently than we do. And we got all sorts of types of artists that I never would have considered having ties to geophysics. So I would love to, have all types of participation in this, and electronic music would definitely be interesting.